In the intervening period, did you even think for a second of trying to appeal Phil Jagielkas' red card?
Yeah, we did. When we looked at it through the night, and then the next morning, but we took advice on it. We had yet again a difference of opinion, but we were told that on a technicality that the three things that they're looking for or consider, and I always, as I've said before, I think I've been consistent, Andy, regarding this overturning the decision. Really, it has to be an unbelievable, clear and obvious mistake, and I didn't think it was, but they thought it was, and so it was pointless from our point of view, having taken advice and spoken to a couple of people, and we have to accept that decision.
On team news related issues then, in terms of comeback trails, where are Basham and Bogle right now?
Yeah, we've got both the players will be missing for tomorrow, so that's obviously a situation that we're going to have to deal with and get through.
Are there any positives regarding injury updates that players you might get back and available for selection anytime soon?
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully the two boys that you've mentioned that will be in contention for next weekend's game at Leicester, and definitely the last game before the international break against Chelsea in the Cup. So fingers crossed that we can get a couple back. As I said, it's been a difficult period for us, but one we have to adjust and adapt to.
So Southampton next then. What's your assessment of Ralph Hasenhüttl's side right now?
It just shows you how difficult the division is. Everybody talked about their start last season and how they recovered out of a fabulous back end, middle to back end of the season, and finished with real momentum and obviously started the season on the front foot and were top two. I think they went top. For a small period of time. So obvious quality, but as you said, sometimes when you lose a little bit of momentum and you lose some key players and some results don't go for you, this is what can happen in the Premier League. But they've talented manager and a lot of good players, and an established Premier League club, as I've said all along.
How much does that match at Southampton serve as a marker point for Sheffield United? Because whatever was done or said after that, you've had a sequence of results since that time, quite a few wins in the bag. They really responded to it as a low point in the season.
It was a disappointing afternoon for us, Andy, and you get these games through the season. There was a lot of things that weren't right that afternoon. And we paid the price for a really good, really poor performance and a pretty comfortable win from Southampton. And as you said, they were going well at the time, and obviously we weren't. So no arguments with the scoreline, and obviously the main argument was the performance, which was certainly not good enough on that afternoon.
But presumably you're a lot more relaxed and confident about the standard of recent performances, particularly in regard to Villa.
Yes, really good result for us. Good attitude to the game, and as I said afterwards, when I made examples of what happened last year and comparisons to what happened last year to this year in terms of a lot of those games that we were involved in. We got the odd game last season when we weren't good enough and didn't pick up the desired result or performance, which I think everybody understands that happens, which you have to deal with and move on. But as I've talked about, 80-90% of the games were like that. But it was a fabulous goal from us, from our point of view, and a second half, a real desire to defend properly and keep the ball out of the back of net with plenty of spirit and commitment shown, which I think we've shown that right the way through the season. But maybe galvanised even us a little bit more when we felt that the decision to send Phil off, which was harsh, but we recovered from it, and obviously got a great result. And I think I talked to you about it afterwards. Premier League points for Sheffield United are so precious, and obviously 3 big ones, 3 big points for us, and I believe that we deserve for a lot of the attributes that we've shown on the night.
You spoke at the last press conference about whether your future might be here next season, and whether there was the plan, and whether the board kind of stuck to the plan, etc. When is there kind of a formal kind of ratification of all of that, rather than perhaps leaving fans wondering what's going to happen?
Well, I spoke about it, so I should imagine that the powers will be understand what was said, but that's as much as I'm going to say about it today, Andy. I've said what I said on it, as I've always said, being honest and open regarding my feelings and thought process on the football club. So I really got nothing to add to it, Andy, and that's basically where it's at from my point of view.